Hello, how are you guys? Hope you're doing well. My name is Tracy, Tracy Stitches here on YouTube and Wild Princess on Instagram. This is a channel about cross stitching, and it's been a few weeks since I've joined you guys lately. I didn't stitch a ton in March, so didn't feel like I had much to update. But I've picked it back up in the last couple weeks again, so thought I'd kind of get caught up with where I'm at and talk about plans and that kind of thing. So I hope everyone is doing good. Things here are moving right along, getting into spring, which I'm super happy about. And haircut. Got a haircut. Finally cut my COVID hair off and ended up going back to my original hairdo. That was kind of precipitated by the fact that going back into the office a little bit, we're going into a hybrid schedule where 1 or 2 days a week they would like us to be in the office. It's not required or mandatory at this point, just optional, but encouraged. So trying to do that, and I figured since I'm going to be in town more that I could get my hair cut. My hair cutting salon is really just right around the corner from where I work, so it's very convenient. So I was super happy to get my hair cut off. It was probably a good 6 or 7 inches, if not more, and feels much better to have less hair. My hair gets very thick, and there's a lot of it, so feels much lighter, which is nice. So like I said, not a ton of stitching done. I did have a trip that I went on in March with one of my very good friends. Her and I snuck away to the Oregon coast for a long weekend, which was very lovely. And it was the first trip that I had taken with somebody other than my parents, or spent time with somebody other than my parents long term since COVID started. So it was nice to get away and spend time with her and not think about work or COVID or whatever else. So anyway, that was nice. But anyway, I have some haul, I have some finishes, I have some stitching updates, that kind of thing. So let's get into it. Let's talk about some stitching and move right along. So we'll talk about haul first. So my first piece of haul is I got the 3 French hens chart from Crazy Annie's. It's the stocking stitch along. So now I have the first 3. The 4th one should be coming shortly. So that'll be good. I do have one of them, the first one finished, so I'll show you that in a little bit. But yeah, so these are so cute. I'm so excited about this this set, so I'm very glad that I was able to get in. I did see on her Facebook page this morning that she opened some more spots up, so if you didn't get in before she closed it down, I think she closed it down at 400 previously, but if you didn't get in, she did open it back up this morning. I don't know, she didn't say for how many, but she did open this back up on her Facebook page. So if you're interested, I definitely recommend you get into it. I'm going to be Stitch Me's Fabric of the Month. I get 40 count even weave, which is Verdal, and this is cinnamon. So it's a nice pretty color. And then before the war started in Ukraine, Melissa and I, Stitcher Mal, and I had talked about doing the black vintage sampler from Al Forest, and so we had done the PDF version, so that was easy, and it's beautiful. So that had been purchased before the war had started, and that's black and white, so you can't see, but they had done it in their fibers that they dye. And so Melissa and I ended up both ordering a set of fibers. She had done hers much earlier, though. She had done hers very early in February, and she had gotten hers probably in 2 to 3 weeks. So it had come very fast from Russia. Well, I had put it off just because I wasn't really thinking about it. And I ended up ordering my set of threads from them on February 24th or 25th, which was right around the time that the war had started and between Russia and Ukraine. And I hadn't really thought much about it. I got the tracking. The tracking had made it to the Russian post office on February 28th. And there it sat. And that was right about the time that all the sanctions had started. I actually think the war had started earlier than the 24th and the 25th. It was the sanctions that started coming down on everything. And so I watched that tracking, and it didn't change, and it didn't change, and it didn't change. And I kind of thought that maybe I had waited too long and that they were stuck somewhere and maybe not going to make it out of Russia. But lo and behold, last week, the tracking updated. It took 4 weeks for the tracking to update, but it updated and it hit customs in New York. So I did get my threads, and these are their, but here's hopefully you can see this is a better picture of it. A really nice variegated thread. So anyway, really excited about these threads, and I'm going to do it on 40 count Lunar. This is the fabric of the month selection from Brandy. So these threads, that chart, new haul, and will be a new start at some point, maybe this month. So anyway, so I felt very lucky that my threads had come through, because I was a little bit disappointed thinking that they may have not made it through, but they did. And yeah, so, and then when we went to the Oregon coast, my friend and I made a side trip to Acorns and Threads. It was only 70 miles. It was only a 70-mile side trip. It wasn't that bad. But of course there was haul. And I'm not going to pull out all the threads necessarily, but there was threads purchased as well. But I did just pick up a few charts, just a few. I had no plans. I didn't know if I was going to buy anything. Assumed I would, but didn't know. I bought a couple of JBW designs. These are older charts, I'm sure, but I picked these up just to, I'm not going to stitch the words necessarily. For this one, I bought it mostly for the crab, but I may do the dolphin too. My bathroom is kind of a oceany type theme, so I wanted to have a couple of smalls that I could stitch, and so that one as well. So I did those. Oh, and it's an ocean theme leaning towards mermaids. So I got this chart from Tiny Modernist because she's gorgeous. So Mermaid Garden. So yeah. So those ones, and then two more. Quaker Star Delight set by Jeanette Douglas. And I got the threads that go with this. I love everything about this. Gorgeous. Love everything about it. And then the last one I got was a Lindy Stitches. And this one, it's not a new chart. It's not like it was out from Needlework Market or anything like that. But it's Mary Mary Needleworker. And I just had never bought it when it came out a year or two ago, and I loved it. And so I saw it there and I picked it up, and I kitted all of the specialty fibers for it as well. So yeah, so I got a handful of charts, as much specialty, all the specialty fiber that I could get, I got, since I was there. And yeah, it was a good trip. It was nice to be there. We spent probably about an hour and a half in that shop, looking at everything and looking at it twice and maybe 3 times. But it was fun to go and be in person and be able to kind of touch things and look at things. So it was fun. It was a good trip. So that was my haul. I did have one finish, I finished Partridge in a Pear Tree. That's the first stocking in the 12 stockings Sal this year with Crazy Annie's. So really love it. This is 27 count Linda even weave black. So really nice stitch. It was really quick stitch, and I really love the way it looks on this dark fabric. So super happy about that. I do have the template for finishing the stockings, but I'm going to wait until I have a couple more done and try and do them in batches, because I think it'll be easier to do multiples instead of just one at a time. So that was the only finish I had this month. No FFOs, no new starts. So whips. So let's talk about my whips. So one of the goals that I had set last time was that I wanted to do one state, one star every week, or the average of. So by the end of March, I wanted to have 13 stars and 13 stripes done on One Nation, and that just didn't happen, folks. I realized that this isn't my favorite stitch. I'm going to love the way it is when it's done. I love this chart. I'm going to finish it. I'm going to frame it. But it's not my favorite thing to stitch on for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the fabric. I don't know if it's the lines. I don't know what it is, but I did do a little bit of work on it. I did work over here in the stars section and get more of the blue outlined. I got 2.5 stars done. So, I mean, I am working on it, but I'm just working on it at my pace and not worrying about one state, one star a month. I've decided I'm just going to do what I want. I do want to try to have it done by this year, by the end of the year. And if I do, I do. And if I don't, I don't. I'm not going to put pressure on myself on something that I'm not overly enjoying stitching on, because I have plenty of stuff to stitch on that I do enjoy. So I, on the 13th and the 31st of a month, if there's a 31st in a month, I have, I'm doing dark 13 stitching, and this, for now anyway, the dark 13 stitching that I'm choosing to do is the Boo Club Flippets by Lizzie Kate. So for those of you not familiar with this is them. Wow, there you go. Okay, so that means I had 2 to do this month, and I did Eek and Creepy. So Eek on the 13th and Creepy for the 31st. And this is what it's looking like. So this is a 24 count orange banding, and I love the way it's looking, and I am officially halfway done with it. I've got 6 charts done, 6 more to go. So at this rate, the 13th and the 31st, I will have this done by the end of July, beginning of August, something like that. So each chart takes me about 2 nights of stitching. Creepy took me 1 day, 1 night of stitching, essentially. There was much less solid stitching in Creepy as opposed to like that frog, let's say. But so that one took me 1 night, but you know, the ones with the solid pieces like this frog or that cat, those take me 2 nights. So they're pretty quick stitches, really. And so they're not too bad, but I'm really loving the way this is turning out. And let's see, what else did I work on? I worked on Snow Village because it was a WIPGO count. It was a WIPGO number. So I worked on Snow Village. And I didn't finish the Snow Village banner, and I'll talk, well, WIPGO's next, so I'll just roll right into that. But this was one of my March calls. And so I got about 75% of that Snow Village banner done. That's that middle piece there. And this is what it's looking like as a whole. This is a 32 count blue and white petty point fabric. And for WIPGO, Snow Village was called. And the way that I have my Snow Village counting on my WIPGO is that middle banner, that middle chart counts as 2 charts because it takes up 2 spots. So my thought was that when I got to the middle banner, this was the 3rd month in a row that this had been called for WIPGO, that I would I would do half of it. And so half of it would have been like through the halfway through the O and the L, the second L in village. That would have been half. So 2 snowman, you know, type of thing. Well, I got all the banners done except for the E. I got 3 of the 4 snowmen done. So I'm about 75% or better done with this banner. So if I'm being honest, I'll probably finish it this month because I'm so close. And then that'll have counted as 2 WIPCO numbers. And when it calls again, I'll either just be done or, you know, I'll count that as a finish, or I'll replace it with something else, just depending on what I'm in the mood for. But I am going to probably finish that this month just because I don't like having it unfinished. But yeah, so yeah. Now, the second number that got called for my WIPCO in March was number 21, which I had marked down as Haid stocking. If you'll recall, Melissa and I were going to do a hashtag BFF stocking sale this year, and both full coverage. She is not doing a Haid. I cannot remember which one she's doing, but anyway, hers is full coverage as well. And so I sat down to start stitching for my 5 days on this Haid stocking, which is my WIPCO goal for it. And I stitched on it for 2 nights, and I just was done. I think I finally figured out that full coverage, especially Haid's full coverage in particular, are probably not my thing. I love the way they look. I love the charts. I love the way that they look when they're finished. But I am not a fan of the tightness of it. The backs get really difficult for me. The amount of time you have to put in stitching on it to see progress, I think, is not satisfying to me. So I had a talk with Melissa. I told her that I was going to probably bail out because I was like, nope, not doing it. And I decided to bail. Life is too short to stitch on things that don't make you happy, I've decided. So I'm not going to do it. And I switched out my WIPCO board and going to, instead of Haid stocking, what I did was I put in Christmas ornaments. So start and a finish on Christmas ornaments. That was 5 boxes. So I put 5, and this was what I counted as my first one. So this ended up being my second WIPCO number for the month, simply because I didn't want to do the stocking. So I did have a change to my WIPCO board. I will put my updated WIPCO board here so you can see it. But yeah, so that's what I've done. And I'm probably going to be happier with that. So anyway, so April plans. What are my April's? We're, 8 days? I don't even know what the date is today. The 10th. We're 10 days into April. Go figure. So 10 days into April. So I'm going to do dark 13 stitching on the 13th. And the next chart in line here is pumpkin. So that'll be the next chart I do for my Lizzie Kate Boo Club. And then like I said, will probably finish the Snow Village banner on my Snow Village piece just to get done. I might start the Black Vintage Sampler by Al Forrest, and we'll see how I'm doing. But WIPCO numbers. So the WIPCO numbers for April are 7 and 10. And the way I laid my board out, 7 and 10 are the same piece this month. So 7 and 10 are Halloween Quaker for me, which is fine. I'm actually excited to be working on it. I'm working on it on the called for fabric, which is 40 count, PTP, murky. Is that what it's called? Murky. Yeah, murky. And so the way that I laid my WIPCO board out for this piece was here, let me show you what I have done. So I have this much done. Okay. So what I did was I took the chart and I put it into sections. I made it into 5 sections and put five spots on my WIPCO board for it. And each WIPCO square is then one of the sections. So one of the sections is that the cat, this piece right here, and that little purple medallion. So this is one of the pieces. The other one is, oh, that's not a cat, that's an owl, by the way. Oops. And then this, and this is one of the other sections. So basically, I'm going to be doing from here to here to here all the way around. I'm going to be doing that this month, which is fine. That's not too bad. So I'll have essentially the top half done by the end of April. So, and what's probably going to happen is I'm probably going to start stitching on that today, and I will probably not stop until I'm done, because that's kind of how I stitch. So yeah, so this is where I'm at. Really, really, really loving the way this looks on that 40 count. And so yeah, make some good progress on this month. So other than that, that's all I've got. Getting a little bit of a late start to my April stitching just because I was behind on my March stitching, but that's okay. It is what it is. So with that, I think I'll let you go today, and I hope everyone is doing good, staying safe, staying healthy, and happy stitching. Bye.